All right, if you've been in the organizing business for any length of time, I guarantee that you've seen this before. Someone posts in a local mom's Facebook group, looking for help with a special home organizing product. Who do you recommend? And then all of a sudden, as you're starting to type in your verified professional business information, all the comments start popping up. I'll do it for $20 an hour. I can do it for free. I'm not necessarily an experienced professional, but I'm happy to come in and help. And it's getting tons of likes. And then the panic starts. You've been in business for 5 years. You've got insurance. Maybe you have employees, contracts, processes, experience, all the different things. And now you might be wondering, do I need to lower my prices? How do I compete with that? Am I going to start losing business? You kind of start the panic spiral. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to fix it. We're going to calm ourselves down. We're going to come up with a plan. We're going to set our mind right coming up. So stick around and let's get into it. Well, what is up, fam? Welcome to the Speak Organized podcast. My name is Melanie Summers, and I am your go-to gal for all things pro organizing business. I'm a professional organizer and an ADHD organizing specialist. I've been in business for 10 years, and I have grown a team and a very successful six-figure business. So I'm here to help you through those hurdles. I've been through the exact same things. There it is. Now do me a favor. If you haven't already, go ahead and grab your device and tap that subscribe button so that you become a member of the Speaker fam. I would be honored to have you on board. If you get value out of today's episode, please make sure to smash that like button and hit the notification bell so that you're notified when I post new content every single week. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, you can leave us that rave 5-star review just to let people know that this is a valuable go-to place to get the information that you found helpful, because there's lots of other folks just like you looking to level up their game, become a professional organizer, or scale their business to 6 and 7 figures and beyond. If you haven't joined my free Facebook group, be sure to go down to the description of the podcast and the show notes, the YouTube description, and join that group. So go click that link and join today. It's absolutely free. Can't wait to see you in there. Now, fam, as we get ready to dive into this, maybe you are that person who is offering to do this for free right now. In other podcast episodes and videos, I've talked a little bit about that, how to do that strategically and how not to do that with no strategy so that you don't get pigeonholed in this hobbyist labor for hire mindset. And if you're here, it's likely that you're watching or listening to this episode because you take this seriously. You want to start a business. You want to build a good solid foundation with all the right systems in place and do this the right way. That's why you're here. And if you're telling yourself some story about how you can't charge what other people charge because you don't have the experience, or you're not certified, or you've never had a business before, or it's too overwhelming and you don't know what to do first, all these different things that we tell ourselves, we're going to try to step into a place of confidence and increase our risk tolerance just a little bit by knowing that you have the right tools and training in your corner. That's what I Speak Organized is for. That's one of my favorite parts of being in this industry and being a coach, is to help you get from being completely and totally new to scaling to 6 and 7 figures in a very short period of time. I've done it, my coaching clients have done it, and I'm happy to help you do the same if you're ready to take my hand and hop off the fence. So in just a little bit, I'm going to share the ways in which I can help you do that. But first, let's get into this tricky little issue. All right, fam, if you and I were sitting on a coaching call right now and having this conversation, and this conversation comes up a lot. I see it come up probably like once a quarter in all of the main like Facebook groups for organizers. And we want to attack the mindset piece of this first. So the first thing that we need to understand is that you are not competing with those people. So if you are that person that's been in business for 5 years and you're kind of wondering like, how do I compete with that? The first mental shift to make is that you don't, period. Full stop, case closed. You don't compete. There is a massive difference between a hobbyist, a labor for hire person, and a business owner who is delivering a transformation. Big, big difference. And there are client bases for both. So you don't really want to be swimming in that pool. You want to be swimming in the ocean. Okay. So that's kind of the biggest thing, is if somebody is offering organizing for free or for extremely cheap, they're probably not running a business. And the people that are posting in that Facebook group and looking for that side gig are not really ready to pay a business. And there are other folks out there that don't want that. We get phone calls all the time. If I could count the number of times that I have had this conversation, I could probably retire now, of people calling me and saying, we had an organizer, quote unquote, come to our home last month or a couple weeks ago, or started working on this project with us, and it just wasn't what I expected. We didn't really get anything out of it, or they made a bigger mess, or it was a solo organizer, and we really, we need a quick transformation right now. And that's where we realized we needed a team or whatever it is. And so I'm not saying like you have to build a team right now or anything like that. But the point of me mentioning this is that there is somebody for everybody out there. And so if you're in the process of scaling a business and you have an actual business and systems and processes set up, you want to go for those folks. You're not selling hours. You're selling clarity, structure, peace, decision-making, momentum. I had a conversation with a client last week who called us after she said she hired somebody and didn't get what she expected. And she said, they came in and said, okay, what do you want me to do? And, that's like a mother's helper type of situation. That's not a professional organizer. So we come in guns blazing with a plan and ready to rock. And so that's what I teach people to be able to do so that you can be the expert coming in. And, there's a little bit of give and take that comes with that situation. Some clients may have a little bit more understanding of the direction they want to go. A lot of people don't. A lot of people are very overwhelmed and they just want you to come in and fix the thing. So that's the truth. And that's kind of what a lot of people don't want to hear. The client who chooses the cheapest option was never your client in the first place. Okay, so get that out of your mind. You don't need them. You don't want to swim in the kiddie pool. All the kids have been peeing in it anyway. You want to be going in the ocean. If you're trying to compete for price, that is a race to where? That's a race to the bottom. To who's going to be the cheapest option. And that's not a race that we want to be in. We don't want to win that race. We don't want to be the lowest common denominator here. The only person who loses in that race is you. So we're not doing that. Case closed. Here is the second thing to consider. How cheap options or cheaper options actually help you. I know it sounds wild, but cheaper organizers actually educate the market for you. And here's how it happens. So somebody hires that $25 an hour organizer, right? And there's no intake process. There's no systems. There's no long-term strategy, no follow-up, no maintenance plan. Things are going to look good for a couple of weeks and then they fall apart. And guess who they call next? You. They call you. The person who understands the difference between labor and expertise, who has the systems to help keep these clients engaged. Your job is to elevate those expectations. And the example that I just gave is one of dozens of examples that I have. Some of my favorites have been clients who turned us down and then a year later call us back and say, yeah, you know what? You were right. We went with a cheaper option. It didn't work out and we're circling back to you. That's happened 2 or 3 times. It's just kind of the long game strategy. You have to be patient and just pick the better lane to drive in because you don't want to be on the other end of that situation where you are unprepared and you don't have systems in place and you're offering subpar service. So if you've made it this far into any of my other content and you're still sitting here listening or watching this video, then I know that that's not you and you don't want to be there. I want to say this too. If part of the reason why you feel pressure to lower your prices is because your back end feels chaotic, that's something that we want to fix too, because it's not a pricing problem. It's definitely a systems problem. Sometimes organizers start questioning their rates because deep down their business doesn't really feel polished yet. So there's something that you know that you haven't done that you need to get to. Maybe you're really busy on site and you don't really have time to work on the business because you're so busy working in it and working for your clients. Your clients have essentially become your boss at that point, right? So let's talk real quickly about the systems that you may or may not have set up. Like maybe your quotes are sent manually through email. You're doing that yourself. Maybe your invoicing is clunky and you don't have a way to accept payment from your clients. Maybe follow-ups fall through the cracks and you're taking a really long time to get back to people and they've already moved on to somebody else. Maybe scheduling is all over the place and you're unable to keep track of how many hours is left in a big project. And, did I send Susan the invoice and she needs an itemized PDF? And how do I do all of that? And all these different things that you are having to create and send with your own blood, sweat, tears, and manpower, right? So when your back end feels scrappy, bottom line is that it's hard to confidently charge premium rates. So this might be where the shift needs to occur for you, is to set those systems up and automate some processes so that you free up some of that time that you need. Because again, why did we do this in the first place? Why are we running our own business? We want that freedom and that flexibility and that impact. And we can't have those three things in an abundance if we are burning the candle at both ends and trying to do everything ourselves. So if you aren't in a place where you want to hire anybody to take on some of that work for you, that's where systems, software, and automations come into play. So one of the biggest shifts that happened in my business was when I stopped duct taping everything together. I am a huge tech nerd. I love testing out new software. It actually has been a benefit for me as a business coach because I get to share the best of the best with you. And I go through a lot of different softwares, a lot of different companies that I work with. I don't recommend a lot of them. And I go through a pretty heavy vetting process because I take the responsibility of what I share with you really, really seriously. And so one of my new favorite pieces of software that I've come to love for running all the back-end processes of my business is called Jobber. Now, Jobber is going to help you manage inquiries. It's going to give you professional quotes that are automatically sent, automatic reminders for scheduling, projects, collecting deposits, collecting payment in general, and just kind of keep everything organized on the admin side. So it's almost as good as having an admin or a virtual assistant at your fingertips, all kind of in one dashboard. You can run your website through it. You can take payment through it. You can organize all of your project details, all the different products that you've bought. Everything can be attached to that client file. It can be shared with your team. You can cover all of your client communications in one place, which is a huge deal if you've got DMs over here and text messages and voicemails and emails and all the things all come together in one platform so that you're not losing track. If that is something that you feel like is holding you back in this process of growth, you're the bottleneck because you're having to be the one to pull the trigger on all these different things, maybe Jobber is the place to start. And because you know me, even if you don't, I am a person that loves to share. I'm not a gatekeeper. I always like to give you a good deal when I have one. So I scored a link that's going to give you 14 days for free if you want to check it out, just to see what it's like, set up a profile, try out its capabilities and see if it works for you. And then if you decide to go beyond that 14-day free trial and actually sign up, you're going to get 20% off for the first 6 months. It's a very affordable piece of software, especially for all the different things that you get. And they've got a lot of onboarding support. Their customer service is amazing. I really, truly cannot recommend this company any more than I already have. So you really don't have anything to lose. Go down to the description of the video and the podcast show notes, check out my special link, and you'll be able to give it a go for free for 14 days. If you have questions, comment down below. All right, now let's get to the real meat and potatoes here of how do we fix this? What do we do? It's one thing to hype yourself up and recognize what lane you want to be in. It's another thing to put that into practice. And I'm all about practicality and giving you actionable strategies. So let's talk about the things that you should focus on. We're going to start with 3. The first one is positioning. So we're going to stop marketing ourselves as somebody who helps you declutter. Okay. That is what a hobbyist says. I'm just here to sit next to you and help you go through stuff. Like, obviously that's part of it, but that's not going to help us in terms of our marketing. We need to think bigger, more transformational. So instead, we're going to speak things like whole home resets, decision fatigue elimination, systems that hold even when life gets busy, strategic organizing for high functioning families, so that people understand that they're getting something special. They're getting a process that has been proven, it's been tested, it works, and you have a support system that is going to help you maintain over time. And the spoiler alert is that system is you, like that's your retainer client, is the person who keeps coming back because they realize that you are their system, and that's okay. So that's what we want. Those are the people that keep us going in the slow seasons, so that you don't have to turn to the dogfight in those posts over people who are doing it for so cheap. Okay, so that's kind of the first things, because cheap organizers are going to sell time. You're going to sell results. That's the big difference. The messaging should reflect that. And so it needs to be a little bit more bold, a little bit more punchy. Okay. Client education is another aspect of this. So most people don't know the difference between organizing as a task and organizing as a system. So one of the first things that I teach inside my membership program is how to create your own signature organizing process. Not only because it helps you create one of the first foundational systems of your business, but it also creates that first foundational marketing tool that you can explain on your website, on the phone with your clients, or your leads, wherever you're at in that process with them. It gives you that tool to explain who you are, what you do, how you do it in your signature fashion. And it's very, very marketable. So you're going to be teaching them by talking about why systems fail, so that you can demonstrate that you understand the problems, why maintenance matters, so that you can keep the business coming back, so that you stay in business and make the money you need, why the psychology of it matters. So understanding how to help them through those trickier, stickier moments of why they're unable to let something go, or, any issues around the fact that it costs money, any of the other sticking points. So we're working on educating our clients to understand why they should value their time and their space more than their stuff and their money, and how you're giving them freedom. And if they just let you get the foot in the door to experience the bliss that comes from less physical chaos in their space, how is that going to make them feel better? How is that going to give them more time to spend with their families and do all the important stuff that they want to be doing? Because you're there to do this for them, or do this with them, however you want to market it. So you educate the market, you elevate the buyer, and the elevated buyers don't shop price. They want the transformation. They're bought in on that. They're ready for it. They know that you're the person to help them get there. No matter how messy it is, you're not going to judge them. You're not going to make them buy a whole bunch of product. And maybe you're going to help them upgrade some systems and stuff like that. But the bottom line is that they know that they have an expert in their corner who's going to take care of the problem. All right. And then experience. The third thing is really, how do you create that experience for them that they're willing to pay for? That comes from how you create the system. So do you have a polished consult process? Can you send a professional proposal? Do you use a contract? And if you don't, you absolutely need to do that so that you have certain things in writing. We don't want angry clients that thought they agreed to something that they didn't agree to, or vice versa, where it gets all messy. And if it's not in writing, you're going to get taken advantage of, and other people might feel that you're taking advantage of them because there's no clear-cut boundaries and policies put in place. You absolutely need a contract if you don't have one. Are you setting expectations clearly? So that comes through things like we send progress update PDFs with itemized breakdowns of everything that has occurred thus far. I send before and after progress photos mid-project so that people can see the visual progress that has occurred. I will hop on the phone and I will talk them through any sticking point to remind them that their homes didn't get to the state that it's in such a short period of time. So yes, it's going to take a little bit longer than 3 days to declutter and organize your entire home because it took 4 years to get to this point or whatever it is. So are you setting the expectations and having those tough conversations with love and support, tough love sometimes? Are you communicating those boundaries in writing? Do you have the policies, the cancellation, the rescheduling, the transfer of property? How does that all work? Is that all spelled out very clearly? Are you setting boundaries and expectations around how you get paid for offsite work when you're taking donations? Do you have a fee for that? Do you have a product research and design fee, a shopping fee, making sure that clients are understanding and respecting that time? And also choosing to opt in or out of those services so that it is a good, professional, solid working relationship with good boundaries on both sides. Is that there? Are you showing up in branded attire? Do you have your logo on your t-shirt with your QR code or whatever it is? Are you showing up brand specific? And are you delivering follow-up resources? Things like leaving them with a 28-day decluttering challenge, helping them enroll in your maintenance program, giving them little cards or routines that they can refer back to so that they can continue to maintain the space themselves when they can't remember where to put something or how to create a new zone. Maybe a list of different terms of what things mean so that as they go through and try to do some of that organizing work on their own, they're able to refer to your resources. There's all kinds of things that we create for our clients that give that high caliber experience that people want to pay for. You're not just coming in as labor for hire. You have a whole system in place with lots of different little bells and whistles. And it doesn't have to be anything that's super overwhelming. Nothing that I have spelled out here, aside from maybe some of the things that need to go inside your contract, are really difficult to come up with. They're not, it's just those little extra touches that go a long way. With some of the other more technical stuff, that's where you come and meet me inside of my membership program. We talk through those things. I give you access to the good stuff and tell you when to talk to your attorney and all those other things so that you can have that professional caliber experience ready to rock, because we're not offering help. We are offering structure, leadership, peace of mind, and that is a completely different product. So kind of to close this out with the hard truth, if cheap organizers are taking your clients, it might not be about price. It might be about positioning. And I see this frequently for folks who charge somewhere in the land of like $40 an hour to about $70 an hour. There's like across the United States for the most part, because that's where the majority of my coaching clients are from. We have some in Canada and the UK and Australia and other places as well, but I'm just kind of basing it off the US market in particular. When you price kind of in the mid-range there, that's where you deal with a lot of sticker shock and where you're kind of competing with these folks who are charging way less, because you're like almost there. You're almost to the threshold of having a business that doesn't even need to play in that pond anymore. It's really more about positioning than it is about pricing. So once the funny thing that happens when you increase your rates above that and you start really dialing in your systems and your niche and all these different things, suddenly people don't really have an issue with the price anymore, because you're attracting a different type of client that has more money than time, that doesn't really care about that just wants the result. And you're not dealing with people who are budget focused. So if you're kind of in that in-between stage and you're not confident in owning your value, that's where training can be really, really helpful. Are you confident in owning that value? You got to answer that question honestly, yes or no. Or are you apologizing for your rates? That probably means that you are talking to the wrong person. You're in the wrong client pool at this point. You may need to raise your rates and start to put the systems behind it that can justify that rate increase. So the other thing that's important to understand is that a potential client can see that you're unsure at that point. If you sound unsure or defensive, or if you over explain your pricing, then you're unintentionally signaling insecurity, and that is going to open the door for negotiation. We want to have confidence because it invites commitment. It allows people to see that they're entering into a well-oiled machine. Obviously, that doesn't always happen. I don't want to try to sell this unrealistic dream of, it's all you got to do is raise your prices and then your clients are going to be fantastic and they're not going to have any expectations. There's always going to be hurdles regardless of who you're serving. But as far as price being a barrier, once you raise your prices, that issue goes away. And some of the other issues are a little bit easier to navigate when there isn't the real life pressure of the financial burden. So instead of obsessing over who is charging less, these are the things that we're going to focus on. We're going to focus on refining your signature service. We're going to focus on improving your onboarding, raising your perceived value, collecting testimonials that highlight transformation. Specifically, that can be super, super helpful. Networking with referral partners, those partners that are already working with your ideal client. Really super important. And then creating content that speaks to higher level problems. This isn't necessarily before and afters of really expensive $12,000 client closet transformations. This could just be simply how you speak about your business. If you look at I Speak Organized on social media, we do have a handful of before and after transformations, but they're not necessarily luxury level. We're not working with clients who invest in thousands of dollars in product on every job. I mean, some of our clients do, but a lot of them don't. And so a lot of the content that we create is more just about the transformation that you receive. We're not relying 100% on before and after photos like a lot of people think you need to. And it's important to remember the reason for that is because the market is big. There are clients that want white glove service, that want discretion, that want efficiency. They want somebody who leads, and they want it to be hands-off so that they don't have to think about it as much. Those tend to be more of your people, or maybe somewhere in between. All right. So if you're not feeling confident in offering that total white glove support, but you're maybe somewhere in between, there's still clients out there for you that aren't going to nickel and dime and fight you on your rates every step of the way. If you just raise them just a little bit, you're going to get out of that cat fight down there. Okay. You want to stop trying to convert the bargain hunters. We're not trying to convince anybody of anything. All right. The bottom line is that we're not going to compete with cheap. You have outgrown it, okay? And if you are feeling like, oh my gosh, this is me, I need to move beyond that, you're in the process of growing out of it too. You're going to refine your positioning. You're going to educate your client the right way through good copy on your website and the content that you create and put out online that is going to show how you are transformation focused, you're value focused, you have systems in place, and you're going to elevate your experience through all of that. It might take a little bit of time to dig in. You might need some help coming up with some of those strategies. That is what I Speak Organized is for. My membership program in particular is the perfect solution for that. So when we talked about earlier how I was going to provide the resources that you need, you can go to ispeakorganized.com/courses. There's tons of valuable training that you can partake in there. You can do one-on-one coaching calls with me if you want to do that, where I can help you with this in real time. And honestly, I think the most affordable, best option that I offer at this point in time is my membership program. It's extremely affordable. It's month-to-month commitment. You can cancel anytime. We've got 33 core lessons in there that teach you everything about marketing, branding, logo design, colors, estimates, pricing, signature organizing process, contracts, legal stuff. I mean, I can't even think of all of the things that we put together in that structure in a year, but it's all there. And then on top of that, we do 2 live monthly coaching calls every single week. So you get to sit with me and have me answer your questions in that environment every single month that you're a member. It's a no-brainer. It really truly is everything that you need to start and run this business, scale it to 6 or 7 figures. And when you're done with the training, you simply email me and you can cancel anytime. It's really not a big deal. We have people coming in and out all the time. So I would love to see you in there if you're ready for this. And I want to be able to help you get there. There is nothing that makes me happier than that, is to be able to see people get the wins and grow and find that confidence. I get messages from former coaching clients and current coaching clients all the time saying, thank you so much. If it weren't for the training that I received from you, I would not have had the confidence to post in that Facebook group or to go to that networking meeting or to change and put those things in my contract. And it really made such a difference. So thank you so much. I want you to be the next person that DMs me and says that, because you took the leap, you took advantage of the training that's there for you, and you let me help you. I mean, that's all it is. Just like allow me to help you get to that next step. So with that being said, if this episode hit home for you, don't forget to like it, give it that thumbs up, hit that notification bell. And then be sure to subscribe to the channel as well, so that you can keep up with all things I Speak Organized. Join the free Facebook group. Remember to contact me if you're interested in the membership program. I'm happy to answer any other questions about it. You can comment them down below. That is it for me. I hope that this has been helpful for you. Go down and check out all the goodies in the description of the video and the podcast show notes, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.